Good afternoon, Seward County Community College. My name is James Choate, and I am interviewing for the STEM specialist position, and I want to say hello from Jonesboro, Arkansas, and thank you for the opportunity to interview for this STEM specialist position. I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Campbell, Dean Rapp, Ms. Winslow, Mr. Hayes, and Ms. Hatcher. I wish I was in Liberal, Kansas with you. But I'm not. I hope you have had a good week. And it will be the first of two short videos on sustainable agriculture. And I'll begin. To introduce a little bit about sustainable agriculture, since the industrial age, there have been various trends that have led to the need for more sustainable agricultural practices. First of all would be the rapid increase in population. Currently we stand in the United States at approximately 314 million as compared to around 76 million in 1900. So therefore there is a greater need for agricultural production. There is also an increase in urban population and a decrease in rural population. Just a couple of years ago, I believe it was in 2009, was the first time in history where the urban population was higher than the rural population. Therefore, this increased urban population, decreased rural population, larger farms has led to ecological impacts to mainly soil, air, and water that has led to a need for more sustainable agricultural practices. So large-scale agricultural production, it has resulted in a few negative effects such as reduced biodiversity, habitat destruction, deforestation, water, air, and soil pollution, which I personally believe are the three biggest components we need to deal with when dealing with sustainable agriculture, as well as declining and damage to water and land resources. We also have human impacts, and again, this large-scale or larger farm production has resulted in destruction of farmland, damage to soil fertility, reduced nutritional value of food, decreased economic, social, and cultural values. Current research over the past 15 to 20 years has looked to correct these environmental and human impacts caused by agriculture to improve production and to protect the environment, especially since the 1970s. So you may ask, what does sustainable agriculture really mean? Well, from the Food, Agriculture, and Conservation and Trade Act of 1990, and I quote, an integrated system of plant and animal production practices having a site-specific application that will do 5 different things. 1, it'll satisfy the human food and fiber needs. 2, enhance environmental quality and the natural resource base upon which the agricultural economy depends upon. 3, make the most efficient use of non-renewable resources and on-farm resources and integrate these where appropriate, such as natural, biological cycles and controls. 4, sustain the economic viability of farm operations. And lastly, 5, enhance the quality of life for farmers and society as a whole. So sustainable agriculture, in my view, has 3 main goals. One, first and foremost, we want to minimize the adverse impacts to the farm and the environment by providing high yields and profits for now and in the future. And 2, sustainability is not just limited to the United States. We must think globally and indefinitely for all living organisms, and of course including humans. And thirdly, in its simplest terms, sustainable agriculture is the ability to produce now without causing damage, so future generations can also produce. There are a few common methods for sustainable agriculture that, if you will, the tried and true methods. One is crop rotations, which helps with pest control. They can be a source of soil nitrogen. They can help reduce erosion. They can reduce water contamination risk from pesticides. 2 is pest control strategies. In other words, trying to minimize the amount of pesticides that's used. First, by scouting, which will help pesticide applicators only put out pesticides where and when needed. 2, use of resistant cultivars, timing of planting, and biological pest controls. Other ones would include weed control through mechanical or biological means, soil and water conservation practices, and using natural or synthetic inputs that pose little to no risk to humans or the environment. So we know crop rotation equals soil health. I'm also interested in mixed farm use that will allow the use of livestock manure, conservation practices such as tillage practices, safe and efficient use of irrigation water, fertilizers and manures that can replace nutrients. Example there might be using a municipal sludge if possible in the area if the crop will allow it. And these multiple crops can help the farmer by reducing their financial risk. In the lab part of this presentation, we'll be in the field in the second part just for a few minutes, but the last part, finishing up, we'll talk a little bit about soil and its impact on our environment as it relates to soil, as it relates to sustainable agriculture. Of course, there are a lot of physical properties such as the permeability, the water holding capacity, porosity, the texture, structure, particle size, and a little bit that I'll talk later in the field about bulk density, which encompasses a lot of what I just mentioned, as well as chemical factors such as pH, cation exchange capacity, carbon to nitrogen ratio, and others. So I feel like with soil there are a few issues. First, soil erosion that we need to limit so agriculture can be sustainable. Bulk density, going from, say, conventional tillage to conservation tillage practices. The ecotoxicological concerns, which is very important, which leads to 1 through 3, kind of leads to the sediments entering waterways. In the soil lab, or laboratory, the outdoor laboratory, I'll talk a little bit about bulk density. In a cotton field in Clay County, Arkansas, it is a reflection of the soil's ability for structural support, water and solute movement, and soil aeration. And I'll talk a little bit about ecotoxicology, using indicator species to determine if a soil is healthy. Again, I thank you for the time, and I look